Going live now. Okay, hello. It looks like we are live. So excited to be joining with you guys again today for another coffee conversation. Let us know over in the chat where you're watching from, what you're drinking, all that good stuff.
I actually brought my coffee today. I'm so excited. I'm having an oat milk turmeric chai latte.
Ooh.
But decaf. I'm super sensitive to caffeine. And my son had caffeine for like the first time in like what it wasn't like a soda or something. It was in like a protein bar. And he was up until like 3 a.m. And I'm like, oh, honey, guess what? Sensitivity to caffeine runs in the family. You should switch to decaf.
Yeah, I'm super sensitive as well. It used to be to the point where even if I just had like sweet tea at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I would be awake until 1 a.m. That's how sensitive I was. And I've gotten better now where I can have sweet tea at dinner and not be awake until 1, but it's still, I'm definitely a decaf person in the morning because it just gives me the jitters if I don't. But
yeah, I'm like, if I have anything past like 9 a.m. caffeine wise, I'm up past midnight.
Yep.
I had maybe a third of caffeine in my coffee yesterday morning, and I had such horrible sleep last night. I'm like, I know better than this.
Oh no, I had horrible sleep last night because my cat decided, these are all on the wall behind me. They're all embroideries that I've done. And my cat is determined to get every single one off the wall at 4 o'clock in the morning. So that was fun.
That's so scary. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. He was living his best life, so it's hard to be mad.
Right? Yeah. No, my dog wakes me up at 4 a.m. because he's thirsty and he wants to let me know that he pooped on the floor and be put on the couch downstairs rather than sleep in his bed. So
yeah, see, everybody has problems, guys.
Who's got sleep stuck? Wait. Well, we aren't here to have a support group for our sleep issues.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be talking about possibility portals. And this is one of my favorite conversations because I see our students, when we have this conversation with them, really light up. And they are like, yes, I understand this concept and I understand why it's so important. So today, that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about possibility portals. Izzy and I are definitely have possibility portals in our world, and it's a real fun conversation. So Izzy, why don't you go ahead and kick us off? Let's dive in and let us know if you're watching on the YouTube video. Please let us know if you have any questions. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know what you're drinking, all of that jazz. We'd love to have that interaction with you guys. And know that this too is also going to go up on our podcast on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like Christine said, this is a topic that she and I are both so excited about. And it's something that we start every single one of our courses with. The first call that we have with students, we sit them down, we have them set out their goals, their dreams, their visions, really getting clear on what it is they want, why they want it, how they're going to bring it into their reality, and setting that foundation for what a lot of people would term as like manifestation, right? Because that's really what this is. When we create a vision board or we set a goal or anything like that, it's really this idea of this is what I want, this is what I'm dreaming of, and now I'm ready to call it into my reality. But a lot of times what happens, and I'm sure we've all had this, is we set a financial goal for ourselves, or we have this vision of our dream vacation or leading retreats or manifesting the perfect dog or whatever it is that comes to mind. And the mind immediately says, you're not worth it. It's impossible. It's never going to happen. Things don't work that way. Life's not that simple. Life's not that easy. Whatever these stories are that come to mind, when we start to think about, if I could wave a magic wand, what would I have? When would I have it? What would it look like? All of those stories start to come up. And so the mind shuts it down. The mind says, nope, not possible. We're not even going to try. We're not even going to put it out to the universe because it's just not going to happen. And so possibility portals are really this for lack of a better word, portal that allows you to see past those stories that the mind has. It's this embodiment of the energy that you want to bring into your own life. And so oftentimes a possibility portal is a person, someone who has achieved what you want to achieve, someone who has the thing that you would love to be manifesting, calling into your life, making your own. And when we can look at someone or something that embodies that energy, that shows the mind, look, this is possible. This person did it. And if this person can do it, why can't I? It silences or at least quiets those stories that play in the mind. And it gives us enough of an opening where we can do the thing anyway. We can try anyway. We can say, okay, maybe it's not the norm. Maybe it's not what every person experiences, but look, it is possible because this person, this thing, this situation shows me that it is, which means that I can try too. It's possible for me to try too. And it gives us enough of an opening that then we can start to invite that energy in from ourselves, from the universe, from the world around us to say, show me how this thing will be possible in my life, just like it was possible in theirs.
Yes. Yes. So possibility portals are a great way to go, okay, who in my world, fictional or non-fictional, that has already achieved the thing that I want to achieve, right? Like basics, like if we break it all down, that's what we're looking for. A possibility portal is someone who has managed to thrive the way you desire to thrive in the world. And so it can be someone like, it's something basic and easy to think about. It's like, okay, I want to go to the gym and I want to look like that person over there, like that, like I want to have that body tone and muscular shape or whatever, right? You can see it, you're there, it's happening right in front of you and going, okay, she's probably only been in the gym a couple of years. Like I can get there. If I try really hard, I can get there. Right. And so that's like an easy way to think about it. Like a possibility portal is someone who's achieved the goal that you wish to achieve. Right. And so in the Reiki world, what this looks like is who in the spiritual realm, spiritual entrepreneurship has achieved the goals that you wish to achieve. And so oftentimes, like when I started like really honing in on who's my possibility portal, who do I look up to and they have the success that I would like to achieve. I really didn't find it in the Reiki world. Like I feel way innovative compared to my colleagues in the Reiki industry. And so I had to look outside of the Reiki industry, and that's okay because there's lots of spiritual coaches and entrepreneurs that are also that they're getting it done. They're really helping people have significant transformation using multiple modalities. And that's kind of like the space I want to play in. I want to be able to mix modalities. I want to mix Reiki with other things and allow my clients to have this ultimate transformation, right? And so I want to look to people who I see are doing that type of sessions, seeing how they're honoring their clients and making the money and going on vacations and doing all of the things that I too wish to do, right? And so we get to look at the examples in the world of going, who's that? And who do I want to look forward to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And so it's really this idea of it's not so much that you're going to look for someone who has done every single thing and looks exactly the way that you want to look, has the practice that you want to have, makes the exact amount of money that you want to make. It's more about the energy behind what they're bringing into the world than it is about the thing itself, because it's not about showing your mind. Like, I think money is one that a lot of people have goals for or want to manifest. And it's not about showing your mind like, look, here's this person who made the exact amount of income that I wanted. It's more about look at this person who is allowed, willing, and thriving in abundance in their own life. They are embodying that energy of financial freedom, whether that means that they're actually financially free or they feel free in their finances, knowing that there's a difference between the two. But it's more about, is that person embodying the energy that I want to feel in my life, in my practice, in my finances, in my partnership, whatever it is, whichever area of life you're trying to bring into alignment for you. It's about looking at whether that person's in the same niche, the same field, the same country, like it doesn't matter. It's more about, does this person show me that this thing I want is possible? Does this person show me that I am worthy to reach out and try and grab what it is that I want, because this person was as well? And the other side of possibility portals that I think often doesn't get discussed as much is this idea of self-worth, because I think that's a big thing that comes up when we start talking about goals and visions and manifesting and all of these things. Is it's that story of, who am I to want these things, or feeling selfish for asking for these things. And one of the reasons that possibility portals are so powerful is because it gives us someone outside of ourselves where we can look at them. And very rarely, if ever, would you look at someone else and say they don't deserve to have what they have, right? You look at someone else and you're like, that's amazing. Good for them. Look at all that they were able to achieve. I wish that I was open in the way that they are to receiving that. And so when you have someone outside of yourself, what it's doing is it's creating this separation in your awareness between yourself and the belief that you have that you're not worth it, that you're selfish, that you're whatever the story is. It creates this separation there so that you can see it in this other person and you can say, but they received it. And I know that they're worthy. I can see that they're worthy. So if they're worthy, that means that I must be too. And it gives you that perspective to be able to separate yourself from the story that your mind is telling you about what it should look like or what it can look like or any of these things. And it gives that space between you and the limitations that you've been putting on yourself to be able to say, look at this person. Not only do they have what I want, do they embody the energy that I would love to have in my own life, but also they are 100% worthy to receive it, which means that even if I don't always feel like it, I am too.
Yes. Yes. And I love that there are so many options available. Like, for example, one of my possibility portals for myself and my own practice is Pamela Chen. She is a tarot deck writer, author, and she's extravagant. She is the person that is fully authentically herself, being an Asian American, dressing up in unicorn princess outfits and doing photo shoots. And she's like, because of that flamboyancy, it's like, she doesn't care about what anyone else thinks. She's going to be fully 100% her. And that's why she's my possibility portal. She's not letting anyone tell her or dictate her otherwise. And she's living in the spiritual niche. She's doing phenomenally well. She's like a 6-figure a month type person. And she's like got contracts with like Hay House. And, like, I love it. And it's because she doesn't fit into the box. Honestly, like, that's a huge thing for me. Like, I don't want to be fit into a box of what I'm supposed to look like or should look like. And so I get to look to someone who's like, look, she's authentically holding her space and saying who she is without any regrets. And so she throws those cautions to the wind and she's doing marvelously well, even when, like, her courses and things are so niche down to like star seeds. And I'm like, yes, you go, girl. Like, I love that. Right. And so this is also an opportunity to remember we might be a possibility portal for someone else. If we're having successes in our career and our practices, share it so people know, like, if they can do it, I can do it too. And I think so often we feel like that's bragging, and there's a different energy between bragging and being confident and sharing your wins. And when we share our wins, we often open up possibilities for, one, to gain new clients. People are like, wow, that sounds amazing. I want that too. And that we have a possibility to become someone else's, they're doing it, I can do it as well.
Yeah. Something that I talk about all the time that I think is so important. There's this phrase that always comes to mind in these conversations. And it's that phrase of, we're all just walking each other home. And I think that is so beautiful, because one of the things that I see time and time and time again is that we're all just waiting for someone else to give us permission to be ourselves, to do what we want to do, to be allowed to rest, to be allowed to have these goals, to be allowed to show up, to try something new, to whatever it is. We're all just waiting for someone else to tell us it's okay. And the fact that we're waiting is okay. Like if you can get to a point where you can give yourself that permission, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But we're human, right? We're human and we live with those fears and those doubts and all of those things. So when we have the opportunity to give someone else that permission, it's a beautiful thing, because what's happening when you're showing up, when you're saying, like with Christina and I in ReikiCafe, we're very open about, here are the things that we achieved this year. And we're so grateful for our community for doing so, not because we want to brag or we want to put ReikiCafe on a pedestal, but because it's this ability to say, if we can do it, you can do it too. And there's this sense of holding each other not accountable, but even, like we're equals here, knowing that we're all sharing the same energy, sharing the same inspiration, sharing the same love, and that's going to come through each and every one of us in a different way. But if we allow ourselves to stand in the truth of who we are and to show up authentically, what we're doing and what you're doing when you do that is you're giving someone else permission to do the same. And it's so interesting, because I'm sure if you think right now, if you just tune into yourself and you think about, when is a time that I held myself back because I felt like I wasn't supposed to do something, or I felt like it was outside of the norm, or I felt like it wouldn't succeed, or I felt like it was weird, or all of these things. And then you go to somebody and you talk to them and they're like, no, that's a fantastic idea. Or a few days later, you get an email in your inbox confirming that this is something you should do. And so you do it anyway. And it turns into this beautiful thing because you had the courage to give yourself that permission. But wouldn't it have been so much easier if from the beginning you had someone that you could look at and say, they did it, so I can do it too? It's not about needing a possibility portal. It's not about this feeling this lack of, if there's not a possibility portal, it means I can't do it. That's not the intention here. It's this freedom to be able to look at someone else and allow them to guide you forward in that light, in that energy, in that freedom of being able to see, look, they can do it, I can do it too. And so there's not a need here. There's not a tug of, if you haven't seen it happen, then it's not possible. No, you can be the trailblazer. You can make something completely new, but it's about finding the ways that you can give yourself that permission to do what it is you're feeling called to do, to show up in the way that you're feeling called to show up. And for many, many people, the way that they do that is by finding someone who has done that or something similar. And I say something similar because, like with Christine and Pamela Chen, obviously Christine does not want to dress up in unicorn fairy princess outfits. Like that's not Christine's energy. But what she's attracted to in Pamela Chen is the fact that she is always 100% herself, and she's stepping outside of the box, and she's not afraid to do that and show up fully. And that's what Christine sees in her as her possibility portal, not the outfits and the crowns and her pet bunny that she has, which is adorable, but that's not Christine's energy. She's not looking at the actual reality of how that inspiration comes through Pamela Chen. She's looking at the inspiration itself, that energy behind how she shows up, as a way of showing Christine that she can show up that way too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very much like, once you start utilizing this tool of possibility portals, I highly recommend seeing if you could book a conversation with them. See if you can get some type of contact with them. Because one of the things that I've realized over the many years of me doing this is it kind of actually knocks the pedestal down. So if there is any pedestal possible, you go, oh my goodness, they're an actual human too. They make mistakes like anyone else. And yet they're still moving forward with this great momentum and energy. Right. And so, and that's just a really beautiful thing, because once you go, oh, they're a human and they did these things because of these are the resources. Well, how do I obtain those type of resources? What education do I need to have? What investments do I need to make? How do I need to set up my website, for example? Like, it could be a lot of different things to go. They can still be a possibility portal, knowing that they're human as well. Right. And so I love that, that Izzy mentioned a moment ago, like, this isn't about a pedestal, but we like naturally sometimes do that. Like, I have told, I don't know how many students, like, do not put me on a pedestal. Like I'm not available for that. There are so many people out there that are that's in the Reiki world, you know, they put their teacher's picture on their altar. And I'm like, absolutely no. Like, if we're friends, you want to put a picture of us like hugging on your altar, and like that's fine, but I'm not available to be put on a pedestal, because I'm human, and I would love to be a possibility portal, an inspiration for people to go, yes, you can do this as a career. Like, and that I constantly am stepping into that space of trying to inspire others to remember that Reiki doesn't just have to be a hobby. Reiki can be a career, and you can have success in it, and you can do it. And you don't have to worry about not having enough. You can release so many of those money limiting beliefs, because it's possible. It's totally possible to have a Reiki business and make 5K months or 10K months. And it's how do you want to do that? How do you want to show up in the world? And so it's this beautiful space of, I can be authentically exactly who I am, see this possibility portal as like, okay, these are the resources that they had. These are the steps that they took, and go, is that in alignment for me? Do I want to take similar steps?
Yeah. Yeah. And I love what you said about needing there to be almost like a humanness in that, because when we put our possibility portal up on a pedestal, our mind has found another way to make what we want impossible. Yes. Because it's no longer saying, look, there's this human who's just like me who did the thing. It's saying, look, there's this perfect person who somehow has it all figured out, and you're never going to be there. And so suddenly your possibility portal hasn't become an inspiration. They've become this unattainable reality that you're never going to get to. And it's another way that your mind tells you you're wrong, right? But if we can see our possibility portals as human beings, and whether that's, connecting with them one-on-one, like if Christine or I happen to be your possibility portal, send us a message. We want to talk to you. But it's this idea of seeing them in real time, seeing them not only for who they are when they're in that energy, when they're in that truth, but also seeing them when they're not, because we are all human. We're not always going to be aligned or perfectly in sync or in flow, right? That's not what we're here for. It's the ups and downs that allow this experience to be what it is. And so when we can look at our possibility portal and we can remind ourselves that these people are humans just like us, they don't have any kind of advantage, they don't have any extra spiritual wisdom that you don't have access to or anything like this. They're just like you, and they're finding their own way. It creates a more realistic ability to see these people as potentials, as opportunities for you, because it's not someone who, like, I think in my head a lot, I think of like royalty. It's not like royalty where you're looking at them and you're like, I will never be there, because they're just people. And, people talk about this all the time about, there's a saying of never meet your spiritual guru or teacher or whatever it is, because it can be in a way disappointing, because you realize that they're just people. But I think that's the point, is like Christine and I would say, please do meet your spiritual teacher, because then you're taking them off the pedestal, and you're realizing that if they can do it, I can do it too, because we're on the same level. We're each sharing that same energy, that same human experience, that same reality. And it's not this imbalance of they have all the power, all the knowledge, all the insight, all the humility, all the whatever it is, and I don't. It's we're both playing on the same field. They've just chosen a different way of running than I have, and that's okay. But now I can see where their footsteps were leading, and I can decide if that path feels right for me too, or if I want to take inspiration from that and then keep going my own way. It's this possibility for a reason, because it's not a roadmap. It's not you're going to see this person and then you're going to do exactly what they did to get where they are. That's not how possibility portals work. It's about seeing that it's possible, and then giving yourself the freedom to decide, where do you want to take inspiration from them, and where do you want to create your own way and create your own path? Because that energy that we've been talking about, that ability to stand up in your authentic truth, that authentic truth is different for every single person. And so you're not going to be able to recreate someone else's journey, to take their step-by-step method and apply it to your own life, because that inspiration, that energy is meant to come through you into this reality in a completely unique way. And so it's not about finding the step-by-step formula for success. It's about finding the ability to give yourself the freedom to create your own step-by-step formula for success that will only apply to you because it's your unique energy and inspiration and flow coming into the world.
Yeah, right. I love it. And I think it goes back to, it's all comes down to being your own authentic truth and knowing like, okay, this person is authentically true to themselves and look what happened. How can I be authentically true to me? And then what's in my realm of possibility? And so we can play in this space. And I think it can really allow us to go, yeah, I'm worthy of this. And for what purpose? And I love that question when we can pause and go, for what purpose? For what purpose am I putting this person as my possibility portal? For what purpose do I continue my Reiki practice? For what purpose? And we can go to the highest question available to us and ask, for what purpose? Why am I wanting a Reiki practice? We can really kind of discover what's our true motivation. And when we can discover our purpose, then there is a cascade effect for behavioral change, environmental change, capability change. Like you'll start learning new skill sets because you're aligned with your purpose rather than this is who I always have been and this is who I always will be. We're changing it on a far more fundamental level when we can align with our purpose. And the only way we can get to our purpose is come into our authentic self and truth, because we're all designed uniquely. And that's going to be your organic way of leading forward, allowing yourself to go, yeah, Pamela Chen loves to do those photo shoots with her rabbits, right? That's totally not me, but it's also like this huge display of like, she's just doing it. She's just doing her. And I'm like, and that's my possibility. I just want to do me and I want to do me well. What does that look like for me? And maybe for me, that's like, I don't want to wear makeup today, whatever it is. Right. And that's can be a really lovely place, like fully loving and accepting yourself for who you are, knowing that I have a higher purpose in all of this.
Yeah. And I think one of the best ways that you can use a possibility portal in your life is when you see this person, and I think this is important to say too, is that possibility portals don't necessarily have to be people. And I say that because sometimes it can just be this energy that you have in your mind, this energy that you've experienced in a place with a person, in your dreams, like whatever. But it's that, again, it comes back to the energy of this thing that you're trying to achieve. And if you're in a place where you can feel that energy in your body, but it hasn't seeped into your life yet, you can use that energy within yourself as your possibility portal, because you can feel the possibility in your body. It's just about taking it from within yourself and placing it outside of yourself. But one of the best ways that you can do that is you can look at the person, like Pamela Chen, for example, and you can see her authenticity. You can feel her energy. You can feel her joy about just showing up exactly as she is and not giving a shit about what other people think. And you can feel that energy, and then you can sit with it and you can think about, what does that look like for me? If I were showing up in my authentic truth, if I took that energy of fully being in my authentic self, or that energy of financial freedom that this person has, or that energy of being in a loving relationship, or whatever it is, that embodiment that this person has that you want to bring in, and you sit with it and you bring it into yourself and you reflect on, what would that look like if I allowed that energy to come forward into my life? What does that look like for me? And then allow yourself to have the space and the freedom to be able to explore that question, to be able to let yourself off the hook for a minute of, as soon as I think about this possibility, I have to bring it into reality. Let yourself off the hook and let yourself just be like a child again, just with your piece of paper, blank piece of paper and a crayon, and you're just going to draw whatever comes to mind. There's no heaviness. There's no pressure. I say this all the time. It's an opportunity, not a burden. And so letting yourself off the hook of having to do something with these ideas and just letting yourself get curious about what would it look like for me if I embodied this energy, if I invited this into my life, and how would I want it to look? And when you have that picture, you can start to feel into where's the gap? How does this picture look different than this one? And how can I start making those little changes to slowly shift over to where I want it to be, using this person, using this energy as a reminder that I can do it every step of the way.
Yes. And I think it goes to show also that, the cookie cutter idea of what a Reiki practice should look like doesn't have to be that way for everyone. There's a very much like an industry standard of it must be 60 minutes, it must be hands-on, or it should be da 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 da. And I'm consistently known for saying, like, it's hard to throw out the rule book and go, what is true for me? How do I want my practice to look? What do I love doing in my Reiki practice? And let's focus there. I don't know how many times I have students and they're like, well, I really actually just want to do this type of class or this type of workshop or do Reiki this way. And I'm like, so what's holding you back? And it's just this should of in the industry of it, well, it's supposed to look like this. I go, well, then don't call it a typical Reiki session. Say, just put a disclaimer, not your typical Reiki session. So people know that this is going to be different. And give yourself permission to lean in and trust what feels good for you and know that that's okay.
Yeah. And like you said, it really does all go back to, can you give yourself permission to be where you are, to want what you want, to try the things you want to try? Also knowing that it's not an all or nothing deal. Like, it's not like if you try something, if you step out of the box, it's not like the box disappears and you can't go back in, right? It's still going to be there. You have nothing to lose if you step out of the box and give something a try and see what happens, because you can always go back. I think a lot of times we tell ourselves that, well, if I step out of the box, if I try this thing, if I do something new, then that's it. I have to rebrand myself and I have to do that forever and ever. And if it doesn't fail, then I'm a failure and I'll never be able to have success. And all of these things that get built up in our minds and in our systems about what it will look like when we take a chance, when in reality, all that's going to happen is you're going to create something, you're going to try it, and it's either going to have the outcome you want or it's not. And then you're going to make a choice from there. Do I try it again or do I go back to doing what I was doing? That's it. And when you think about it that way, it takes the fear out of trying to become our own possibility portals, right? Like trying to step into the energy that we want to embody to prove to ourselves that we can do it. It takes the fear out of doing that because it's no longer this all or nothing, life or death, success or failure situation. It's, I'm just trying.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just right. Like, I'm just learning. It's like when you're a toddler and you start to walk, you're just trying it and you might fall. You can stay on the floor and keep crawling if you want to. Nobody's going to judge you for that. Or you can get up and try again. It's not about this projection of what success should look like. And I think that's also a really key piece of this conversation is knowing what success means to you. Because I think a lot of times our definition of success, Christine's like, yes, oh my gosh. But a lot of times our definition of success comes from society around us, right? We pick up our definitions of success from our parents, from our teachers, from our colleagues, from our work environment, from all of these places other than ourselves. And so a lot of times we've subscribed to this idea of success that we don't actually believe in, but we haven't given ourselves the chance to realize that we don't believe in it. And so when you start looking at possibility portals, looking at embodying this energy, looking at trying something new, it's so important to first take a step back and think to yourself, what does success mean to me? Is success having a certain number of students or reaching a financial goal or having the perfect house or whatever that is? Or is success you trying something new, creating something that you wanted to create, being joyful in your own presence, standing in your authentic truth? And the thing about this is there's no right answer. There's no right or wrong. This is what success looks like. This is not. It's all about what it is to you, but we get trained to think that success has to look a certain way. And so then when we try something new, maybe it has that outcome of being successful according to the traditional definition of it, and maybe it doesn't. But it makes it so much worse when it doesn't, because we think that that's the only way that someone can be successful. And so it just adds this additional layer of complexity to things. And so letting yourself take a step back from the get-go and saying, what does it mean to me, can give yourself that additional layer of permission to try something. Because if success to you is no longer making six figures in a single year, but success to you is having an idea and having the courage to do the thing anyway, then just trying something new, you will be successful regardless of the outcome, because you did something, you tried it, you had that courage. And so noticing what the shift is, and also giving yourself permission for success to be whatever it is for you, whether it's one side of the spectrum or right in the middle or the other, it doesn't matter. But when you're clear on it for you, it can help you align your priorities as you move forward and begin to draw that energy into your life.
Right. And we have such this fear of failure in our society, and failure is one of those things, just like success, it has the stigma to it. And our culture, our parents, everyone around us has given us this term failure. And what it is like, actually, what if I want to challenge you, like every day we should fail at something? Why? Because if we're failing at something, that means we tried. It means we tried something, and now we're going to learn from it, and we're going to shift, and we're going to keep moving forward. And if we're striving to fail in a way of learning, adjusting, and moving forward, and we lose the fear of failure. And this also goes back to something I say all the time too. It's like, done is better than perfect, right? Like, there are so many people holding on to perfection, or they're holding on to that fear of what success and failure mean to them, based upon culture and society, rather than what's true for them internally, that we get held in place, we get tied down, we get stuck in that fear, rather than exploring. So when we can get to a place of curiosity, when we can get to a place of exploring, when you get to like, let's see how this goes and try it, then we don't feel bad if we only have 3 people sign up for our workshop. We don't feel bad. Like, why? Because you're coming in with an energy of like, now I know what worked, what didn't work. I know how to adjust and move forward based off of what happened during this round. So we keep trying, and you see that time and time again at ReikiCafe University. When we first started offering longer signature programs, it was like a 7-month program. And we were like, you know what? This is fantastic. And I love it. And it could be better. And so we try again, and we do it again. And every time we go, wow, this is really awesome. And yet, what if we tweak this? What if we shift it over here? What if we make it like this? And it just gets getting better and better and better every time, because we're not allowing us to hold on to the fear that it has to look a certain way, or if I did it once, I have to do it that way every time again. We have flexibility to say yes to the possibility that we can shift, and we can be flexible with divine spirit, because divine is always kind of in this flow. And if we can get in that flow too, we're going to get those hits. We're going to get like, try it this way. But when we're in the rigidity of like, it has to look like this, and it has to look like that person's offering, I have to copy their copy from their website, I have to take their same words, it's like, no. you can't do it like that. That's not the best way forward.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to what we were talking about too with success, because just like sometimes we have to redefine what success means, I think it's equally important to redefine what failure means, because a lot of times what happens is, it starts when we're in school, because we're graded on our work, and you can quite literally fail a test in school, and it becomes like the end all be all of your education. Do you fail this class or do you pass? And so we take this institution that we've grown up in, whether you go all the way through college or you stop somewhere before, there are several years in our lives where we are taught that good work is an A, bad work is an F or a failure. And so we're taught that failing is bad. And we're also taught that failing is an end all be all. It's the end of the line. And so we take this training that we've had during school and then we start to apply it to our life, right? And we start to feel like we're being graded on how we live, what we do, how we work. And a lot of times this also comes from traditional religious perspectives too, of like, are you stacking up your points in the good column versus the bad column? And we take this idea forward that we're being graded. When you think about it, the idea of failure that we're given in school is that if you don't do good enough, you will fail and you will have to do it again, or you will have to drop out of the class. So it's this end where something happens, you're failed and you're done. But when you think about this in life, failure doesn't happen that way. It's not like you fail at something and then your life ends. That's not how it works. You fail at something and you try something different. Something happens where even if, let's say that you work at a corporate company and you make a decision that loses the company millions of dollars, you could say that's a failure, but the company doesn't end. You make a decision to patch the hole, to fix the thing, to move on. And so that flow keeps moving forward. And that always happens in life. So if you're defining failure as something not working, as it being the end of an idea, like it was defined in school, then technically failure doesn't exist because you're not done ever if you look at it from a spiritual perspective. But on a physical level, you're not done until you die. There is no failure here if you're defining it that way. And so thinking about, how do I define failure? Is it making a mistake? Is it not having anyone sign up? Is it whatever it is? And then getting curious about, why is that my definition? Is that the definition that I want to have? Does that definition even make logical sense? Because I think it's something that we don't think about a lot. Like, we hear about failure all the time and we're all afraid of failure, but very rarely do we sit down and think, what actually is failure? And a lot of times, if we think about that, the argument starts to dissolve because there's no substance there. It's this idea that we've all built up and built up and built up and are afraid of, but the thing that we're afraid of doesn't really exist if we start to feel into it and look at it. And so as you are defining success, also looking at, what does failure mean? Because that will also give you the freedom to realize it's going to be okay. You're not going to die. You're not going to get hurt. You're not going to end up homeless. Whatever the fear is in your mind, you're going to be okay. And it's okay to try, even if what happens is your mind's definition of failure, because now you know that failure doesn't actually exist. It's just an invitation to redirect and redirect and redirect and reevaluate and do it better next time. That's all it is it's an invitation to learn and to try something new and to do better and better and better and better, because that's what we're here to do, is evolve and grow.
Yeah. And when we get to that place of curiosity and exploration and giving things a try without the heaviness of these words, success and failure, we start dissolving limiting beliefs. And that subconscious, negative thought process in the back can go, shh, we're just getting curious here. It's a lot easier to start playing in the space of seeing what's available and seeing what's going to show up for me when we can start letting some of those thoughts go. When we can recognize, wow, where did I get that little voice in the back of my head? Oh, maybe it's that person I follow who's not the greatest possibility portal, and yet I hear their messages all day long. Looking through our Facebook feed, our Instagram feed, our YouTube watching, whoever we're following, and going, is the message allowing me to see this as a possibility portal? Or is this actually holding me down and living in a state of fear? And going, maybe it's time to hit unsubscribe to some things. And maybe it's time, because algos are like real. If you're I think that if your algorithm is set up, it's a reflection of your energy, right? So if you get sunshine every time you hit Facebook or YouTube, it's because that's where your energy is at. And so it's kind of like, this is a really great opportunity to see the social media platforms in a different light. What is being reflected of you is where your energy is at, and something needs to adjust if it's not beautiful. Like, I don't have heaviness on my Facebook feed. I can go scroll and go, look at all these wonderful people in my life. There's no heaviness there. And it's because the algorithm is matching my energy.
Right. And so letting yourself, this is something that we'll come back to again and again and again, letting yourself get curious about, where is this coming from? Why is it coming to me? Who is it coming from? Like, where did I learn this? And is it something I want to hold on to? Is it something, now that I'm aware of it, that I want to continue to allow to impact my life? And if the answer is no, giving yourself the permission to try something new, giving yourself the permission to redefine whatever it is you're struggling with, to imagine what it would look like if you stepped outside of those limitations, if you found someone who shows you that it's possible, and then you gave yourself permission to do the same. These ideas of really getting curious and understanding where it's coming from, why it's coming, and allowing yourself to redefine those things, allowing yourself to let go if it's time to let go and to step out of the box, if it's time to step out of the box, is so powerful. And this is something that we teach in all of our courses, is this ability to heal your limitations from within. Because when you can release those limiting beliefs, those anxieties, those definitions that are holding you back, you open yourself up to becoming your own possibility portal, to embodying the energy that you want to have fully in your own life, giving yourself permission to step up and stand in your authenticity, knowing that at the end of the day, you are loved, you are divine, you are okay, you are all of these things. But in order to get to this place where we can step into that expansion, step into that joy and authenticity and truth and power and courage, we have to heal from within. We have to find ourselves in that space where we can get curious about, what are our limiting beliefs? What's holding me back? Do I want to continue to hold these? And then giving yourself the techniques and the tools to be able to let that go and then thrive in the absence of that limitation. And this is something that we're so passionate about, and it forms the backbone of one of our signature programs, Reiki Coaching. And it's a program that is a 5-month-long program designed to not only help you get curious about all of these things and create that space and expansion in yourself and be able to step into your authentic truth, but then to also learn how to help your clients do the same, how to know how to facilitate this kind of transformation, facilitate this kind of conversation with your clients. Because just like you guys come and listen to us on the podcast, watch us on YouTube week after week after week, because talking with someone, being in that energy of communication helps us open up, right? I always say we find solidarity when we can share our stories and when we can hear other people's perspectives. There's a way to be able to hold these conversations, to hold this sacred space, so that these conversations are not only transformative, but they're also powerful and effective and efficient and all of these things. And so Reiki Coaching is a course that combines being in that energy of communication.
Whoops, that was my fault.
Whoops. But Reiki Coaching is a course that combines all of the things that we've talked about week after week. It combines the chakras, it combines Reiki, it combines communication skills, it combines healing from within and limiting beliefs and coaching, and all of these aspects that are going to allow you to become your own possibility portal and teach your clients to do the same. And so this course is really for those people who have stepped into a Reiki session and have realized that in the first 10, 20, 30 minutes of the session, all their client really wants to do is talk and just let it out, and feeling like that conversation could be used in a more powerful, impactful, and transformational way, then this course is for you. If you've ever stepped into a Reiki session and felt like it's the talking that makes the difference, or you've wanted to enhance your Reiki session so that you can really support your client on all levels of saying, this is where they're at, I can use the Reiki to help enhance their energy, but we also need to work on those limitations. We need to work on our definitions. We need to get curious and have those structured, sacred conversations to help enhance that process, enhance the healing from within, then this course is for you. And the reason that we're sharing about this is because we are opening up enrollment for Reiki Coaching starting today. So Christine is going to put, or I'm going to put the link, perfect, to the waitlist in the chat. There is no commitment required when you sign up for this waitlist. All it is if you felt the call, if you know that there's more to your Reiki sessions, if you know that these kinds of sacred conversations, knowing how to hold space for your client in an effective way and using our words, using our language, using our communication to enhance the healing that comes from within and bringing in that curiosity, that wisdom, and that flow that comes when we combine Reiki, coaching, and the chakras, then this course is for you. It's really to help you learn how to enhance, how to incorporate Reiki in a way that's going to support your client on all levels and move into a space of not just healing from an energetic standpoint, but transformation from within.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love this course because it really helps you go from this, I don't know how to receive a client and have a conversation and move the client forward and help hold them accountable, and how much talking should be included. Like, here's those shoulds on us, like all of those unsures get clarified, and you learn how to, regardless of where your client is at and what they're saying to you, that you can feel very clear and how to hold space, how to hold your boundaries, and how to have effective conversations that are allowing that divine voice to come forward, to allow your client to empower themselves, knowing that you are not the one with the answers. It's your client, and the client is going to be offered this container to self-discover their own solutions. And so it really gives this really beautiful container of like, I just get to be me. I just get to be exactly who I am. I don't need to figure anything out. Ego doesn't need to play a role here, because I know exactly how to hold this space to allow the client to self-discover.
Yeah. Yeah, this course is all about giving yourself the permission to step outside of the Reiki box of what a typical session should look like, and instead finding what it looks like for you, and being confident in your ability to use the techniques and skills that we offer in this course to create and hold sacred space for your client so that they can understand what's happening on a deeper level. They can heal from within, and you can use these tools and techniques to encourage that process. It's not about stepping away from Reiki and saying, this isn't enough. It's about saying Reiki is amazing, and how can we enhance it? How can we use this amazing energetic skill and bring it to the level of the psychology, the physiology, all of these different layers of our clients, so that we can use those 10, 20, 30, 60 minutes of talking that happen at the beginning and the end of a session in an effective way? How can we allow our sessions to be structured so that not only are we holding that space for Reiki to flow, but we're also creating a space at the beginning, the end, and maybe even the middle of a session where we can continue to allow that Reiki to flow throughout the week, where we can give them activating actions to help their healing continue through their lives, not just when they're in the room with you on the bed, not just when they're in session with you, but after. How can we create a space where we're supporting our clients on all levels and feeling confident and able to do so that we don't walk out of a session feeling like there were 30 minutes that were wasted, where the client starts talking and you don't know how to guide them. So you just let them say all the things, and then you're left holding all of the energy, all of the emotions that they've just let out, and you don't know what to do with it, right? That's an experience that every Reiki practitioner has had. And so this course is designed to teach you how to take that space and transform it into a container that facilitates transformation, that facilitates these conversations and facilitates healing on a deeper level, all while learning how to also do this for yourself, how to release your own limitations, how to explore what it looks like beyond your boundaries in a safe space for you. So while you're learning how to hold safe space for your clients, ReikiCafe is going to be holding a safe space for you to do that healing work in your own life, in your own perspective, so that you'll have that much more experience and confidence when you step into that situation with someone else.
Yes. Yeah. So feel free to click over to the waitlist. Once again, there's no, this isn't the application. You'll just get the first bit of information when we release it, which should be in the next couple of days. So if you'd like to get on to learn more, just click the link. You actually even get a little discounted pricing by doing so once that's available, if you do decide to move forward with us. So with that, thank you all so much for listening to this on possibility portals. Hopefully you had lots of haha moments and takeaways. Please feel free to share with them. And know that we would love for you to like, subscribe, and share this video. It helps us so much, so we can get our message out to other Reiki friends.
Yes, beautiful. And like we said at the beginning of this, knowing that the first step is just to be open to putting out those feelers into the universe and allowing yourself to dream about what it would look like if you brought that energy into yourself. And so if that energy that you want to bring forward is in Reiki coaching, fill out the wait list, show the universe that you're ready, you're interested, you know that it's possible, and you're ready to bring it into your own life. And in the meantime, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for listening, watching, following along, and we will see you next time.